Today on the Topping Show, Nike endorses child trans surgeries, evidence of the Burisma bribery with Biden come to the surface, Dodge Challenger to get a stick shift, tech companies continue to push to try to get their employees to come back to the office, Twitter to pay creators, Garth Brooks to have Bud Light in his bar, DeSantis campaign uses deepfakes of Trump in an ad, and Walgreens reveals a store with no inventory. All that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller service company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice today. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader and a business owner, you need a little assistance, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Fascinating cultural news. You have Garth Brooks proudly, or rather, he is going to serve Bud Light. Now, he's opening his own spot in Nashville, Tennessee, which, more conservative state, and he's going to open up a bar called Friends in Low Places and Honky Tonk, unquote, which is the cliche Garth Brooks song, Friends in Low Places. Now, Garth Brooks is the pinnacle, fiscally speaking, of country success. He sells out stadiums in minutes. It's unprecedented. He's more successful than Taylor Swift, I would think. I don't think he complains about high school boys, but like she does, but he has a huge audience. He sells out instantly. And he's going to open this bar, and they asked him, hey, this big controversy, a lot of bars are banning Bud Light. They can't move the product. They're not making sales. It's just staying there. And they asked him, are you going to have Bud Light at your bar? And he said, quote, I want to be, I don't know how to do his voice, but impressions usually involve just removing all emotional intelligence and facial expressions looking like a serial killer. But he says, I want it to be a place where you feel safe in. I want to be in a place where you feel like there are manners and people like another. And yes, we're going to serve every brand of beer. We just are. It's not our decision to make. Our thing is, if you are in this house, love another. And if you're an a-hole, there are plenty of other places on the lower Broadway, unquote. Now, the most hilarious part is when he says, it's not our decision to make. If you're the proprietor of the bar, it is exactly your decision to make. You are the only person that can make that decision. It's not like, that's completely abdicating all responsibility. It's not our call to make. Well, if it's your bar, your name is on there. Even if it's a licensing agreement where you're just getting paid money and someone else is owning and operating the bar, you can lean in on them and say, hey, you're using my likeness, rather. And part of that, there's a morality clause for a lot of these things where I want you to portray my name and my brand in a certain light. Because of this controversy, I would like to remove that product immediately. There's always a choice to be made to pretend like, it's just not our choice. We're going to serve everything. Now, I don't think time shall tell us he actually has a fiscal impact on his business, but he has such an overwhelming wide audience and so many fans. Even if he lost 20% of his fans today, he would still be successful because, again, there are millions of people. And I'm sure he has some good music. I heard Low Places once, years ago, I'm sure, at a bar. But this is also in complete contrast to other country music stars who famously, Kid Rock, I don't know if he's country or rock, whatever, he's a musician, and he famously had a video in which he, again, nice thing about having lots of money and being successful, you can buy machine guns if your state allows it. It has to be registered with the state and manufactured before 1986. Now, Kid Rock had a MP5, which is iconic in and of itself, but he actually took the machine gun and shot up cases of Bud Light and when the boycott just started, and completely helped ignite that boycott. It got a lot of attention. It went viral, as the youth might say. And you also have other country music stars. They're changing their songs. So Bud Light is not in the song anymore. One song in which had something where a guy talks about going into the fridge to get a cold Bud. He actually changed it to, I believe he changed the word to Coors Light. So not only are they removing that brand from their songs, they're helping other brands make money by elevating those brands. That's the type of marketing you can't buy. That's the type of cultural cash, or the type of cultural reserve, type of cultural authenticity that brands yearn for, is to have people where you don't pay them, but they still believe in your product and they advocate for them. That's exceedingly rare these days. That's a cultural phenomenon that every brand wants. And Bud Light shot themselves in the foot with this whole marketing campaign, and the artists are literally changing the songs to remove their name from them. That's a huge business burden. But Garth Brooks, again, Garth is so big, I doubt it will affect his business, but it's fascinating that in terms of the culture music genre, he has decided to go against the grain and stock all beers. Will he sell that many Bud Lights? I would guess it'd probably be not the top 5. I mean, you had Modelo beat Bud Light. They are now the number 1 beer in America by fiscal, in terms of sales. That was huge. And again, Modelo, yes, globally is owned by Anheuser-Busch InBev. But the United States, in order for that merger between Anheuser-Busch and InBev to come together, the SEC forced them, or rather, they kindly said if you want to merge, you have to sell off the U.S. entity of Modelo. So the U.S. Modelo brand is actually owned by Constellation Brands, and that's where the profits go. Now, it'll be interesting to see, will that sell at all? Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Cannot thank you enough for your time, taking the time to like, subscribe, and comment. All the feedback is greatly appreciated. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone to stay safe and fight the good fight.